So just some quick background. Why am I sharing learnings and lessons and tips with you about integrated Lean Sigma? I spent the last 15 years from 2004 to 2020 really focusing almost primarily on integrated Lean Sigma, how to build, design, develop, deploy an OpEx program that included Lean Sigma training, Lean Sigma certification, and then business process improvement projects at a global life science company called MDS. I highlight some of the things that we achieved in that 3 years that I was with them as vice president of business process improvement, and then went back into academia with Julie Heigl at Ohio State, and I was the director of the Integrated Lean Sigma certification program for ISE in the department there at OSU, and trained bunch of young bachelor's degrees in industrial and systems engineers at the black belt and green belt level, and then we did 2-semester capstone senior design projects. So lots of almost all of the things that I'll be sharing with you come from those experiences. Wanted to remind you that back in early 2022 we did a 2-part series on integrated Lean Sigma. You can access those 2 webinars and presentations with that link there. You will get an email tomorrow from me via Zoom, and how to get to this presentation and the recording will be shared with you again tomorrow in the post webinar email that you get. So when you go to the IISE website, you'll see a landing page that looks something like this, and we've bucketed the past webinars into categories. So this particular webinar will be in the integrated Lean Sigma bucket, and SAFE has, I think SAFE has shared the link specifically to that particular bucket. You can see the other webinars that we've got in there. So once you get to that integrated Lean Sigma page, you'll see that those 2 webinars that I mentioned, the integrated Lean Sigma part 2, the integrated Lean Sigma part 1 there, that top arrow. And then another thing I want to make sure you're aware of is that we did a webinar, and I don't know the exact date, but that second arrow down there, teaching Lean, proven best practices for transactional processes. We did a webinar, and we talked about how do you teach Lean, and it was a great webinar. We had 2 or 3 people on a panel with me, so I would encourage you to also make availability, take advantage of that webinar. The webinars are on demand. They're a service provided by IISE, mostly for our members, but customers have access to them also. And then again, I throw this page up. This is the operational and organizational excellence folder, but you can see lots of webinars in there, and many of them relate to the topic that we'll be talking about today. So let's get right into now summarizing, talking a little bit about some of the things that I've learned about training, coaching, teaching integrated Lean Sigma. So I've got 6 main points that I want to cover off with you. Some of them I'll spend more time on than others, but the first one is that I think establishing the context for integrated Lean Sigma and OpEx is important. So at Ohio State, the context was sort of as depicted on this slide. When I came to Ohio State, Julie Heigl, who was the department chair, said, I've got young people that like our courses, but they don't understand how the courses all fit together. So I'd like you to create an integrated Lean Sigma certification program that's the capstone for them, and that really helps them understand how everything comes together. And what I saw with students back, this would be in 2007, is from a personal mastery perspective and a professional mastery perspective, they were smart, they were bright, they were obviously in engineering, they were at a great university, but they had some tendencies and habits that I thought weren't going to serve them. So when we built the Lean Sigma training program at Ohio State, we wanted to not just impact what they know about Lean and Six Sigma. We also wanted to impact when they came out of school, how good were they at change leadership and change management? Were they professionally developed and ready to hit the ground running? So there was more than just teaching them Lean Sigma. There was also blending in, improving their personal and professional mastery. And so this slide represented the focus of the training, or I would say the framework for the training that I did both at MDS and at Ohio State. You know, I listened to Jim Collins talk one time downtown Toronto, and the word greatness kept coming out, and the greatness and discipline, the relationship between discipline and great, kept coming out as a major theme in everything that he said. And so I got to thinking about, okay, greatness is a lot about disciplined people in thought, word, and deed. Well, what are they disciplined about? And then I sort of put Peter Senge together with Jim Collins. And Peter Senge said, we got 5 disciplines. And if you're disciplined in those 5 things, then you're going to achieve full potential performance. If you're less than skillful in those 5 things, then you're going to underperform. So the box on the left is what we were doing with integrated Lean Sigma, teaching people the DMAIC methodology, teaching people how to use the tools associated with the DMAIC methodology, walk through the roadmap. But then we also wanted to augment it with what we called personal mastery, mental models, building shared visions, and team learning. At MDS, the context, so that was the context at Ohio State with the students. At MDS, the context was a little different. You've got practicing professionals in their 30s, 40s, 50s that you're training to become process improvement specialists. We had a business that was underperforming. I characterized the business in the box on the left. And what we were intent on doing in the 3 years that I was there was, you know, converting businesses that are underperforming to businesses that are focused improvements in all 4 of the business units and performing at the levels that we needed them to perform at. And so we were really more about creating a team of business process improvement professionals that could manage this migration path from the way it was in 2003 to the way we wanted and needed it to be in 2007. So we sat down and we developed a Y as a function of X program focus. We said, hey, this is how much hard benefits we want to get from our OpEx program. So we're going to create a BPI team. We're going to invest some money in that team. We want a return on that investment. So we had a pretty clear understanding of what the CEO and the board wanted and needed from the BPI team in terms of us facilitating aggressive direct benefit improvement throughout the business. And so we said, well, what are the things that we have to do in order to create more enterprise value for the business? And we came up with these factors that you see on the right-hand side. So Y is a function of X. Achieving a great OpEx program, achieving the greatness that Jim Collins talked about, good to great, going from good to great, requires that you have an equation, you've got a formula, and these are the factors that we got to manage. So we went about doing that. And so one of the things we did right out of the bat was we created like a SharePoint site. And so everybody in the company could go to this SharePoint site and they could see what's this thing called integrated Lean Sigma all about? What's this thing called OpEx all about? And how can I get engaged? And how can I get involved? And what's happening with this program? So we created almost an intranet SharePoint site that really helped people understand the reason why we were doing the program and what were the objectives and key results that we were setting out to accomplish. The CEO would go around and do town hall meetings throughout the company, 5,500 people. And he positioned OpEx. These are the 4 planks. These are sort of his 4 strategic thrusts, so to speak, that he came with when the board brought him in to transform the company. And you can see OpEx is a plank in his platform, so to speak. And so he became a really important salesperson for the business process improvement work that I was charged with designing and setting up and doing. So the objective was to grow enterprise value, and we conceptually thought of enterprise value as the number of customers that we've got, the amount of money they spend with us, and the durability of the relationship, the stickiness of the relationship. We realized that we wanted integrated Lean Sigma. We wanted our business process improvement team and our projects to be focused on growing the cube. And we realized that we wanted Lean Sigma and OpEx to impact all aspects of the business. So we didn't just want to focus on manufacturing or finance or back office. We wanted to focus on everything in the business. So we really created a very pervasive footprint, so to speak, for industrial and systems engineering and integrated Lean Sigma. And we really focused on improving the process by which the company positions itself in the marketplace, the process by which it exchanges value with suppliers, customers, employees, and then the traditional OpEx stuff. How do we improve operations? How do we improve quality, efficiency, productivity, and so forth? So we created an infrastructure. This is the context for training the belt, so to speak. We created an infrastructure where we had, for example, we added value stream owners. The business had never had value stream owners. They had never thought about cross-functional value streams. It was a business, sort of a typical traditional business where the functions were sort of the verticals, and the verticals were sort of stovepipes, meaning they were somewhat insulated, and there wasn't a lot of communication and coordination in some cases across value streams, cross-functionally. So we created value streams. We defined what a value stream was. We got people to think we got the business units and the functions to define what they were, and then assign ownership for them. And that was a really, really big choice on our part to push that. It was a little risky because not a lot of people do it or did it, but it really accelerated things for us because we got people to screw their heads on a little bit differently around the way they think about the flow of value in the organization. So those are examples of, I spent probably six months doing white belt training sessions, 2-day white belt training sessions we had 4 revenue generating business units, and we had 7 functions, IT, finance, HR, and so forth. And we took the top 20 to 30 people from each of those units, and we did a 2-day white belt session where we actually did a lean simulation, physical simulation with them, and exposed them to the language and the concepts, and then helped them start to launch them thinking about how they were going to deploy integrated Lean Sigma and OpEx in their units. So that was sort of 6 months of foundation laying where we socialized what we were doing, why it was important, and really got the CEO's direct reports on the same sheet of music. That was very important. I think many times we start to go up and we just start training belts and we have them start doing projects, and we really haven't laid the foundation for the work that they're going to do. There's not the context hasn't been set. And so I think that's important. That first step is important. I think the second thing that we did